Okay, in the previous section, we studied about different personalities, different scientists who contributed towards the scientific revolution. No, we began with Roger Bacon, a friar. How he, for the first time in the history, said that we should believe anything that is based on experiments. Okay, then following him we have the advent of this particular person you see here, the Nicola Copernicus. He said that if we consider earth as something that revolves around the sun, if we consider the heliocentric theory, that could solve so many problems that we are facing in the astronomy, right? Now there were many other astronomers, scientists um, who had a detailed analysis of Copernicus discovery, and then they said, okay, yeah, it is something that is reasonable. Okay, then we have Kepler, who worked on Copernicus theory and said that everything is fine. What Copernicus said is totally fine, it is good, but based on his mathematical observations, he said that Earth revolves around the sun not in a circular motion, but rather it is a elliptical motion. Okay, it's not circular, but rather it is elliptical. Wasn't circular, but rather elliptical. Okay, so from here, from Kepler, we started with Galileo Galilei, and we are going to see about how Galileo, you see here, how Galileo used his gift to contribute to further the studies of Copernicus and Kepler. Okay, so Galileo used the telescope used by the seafarers to study the stars. So what he actually did, so using the telescope, he was able to discover the planets Jupiter and Saturn. Okay, they had several moons, revolving around them. Another important question that he was working on was, why do planets and moons orbit? Why they actually move around, and who and what propels them? What actually propels those planets? Okay, now in order to find it, he started an experiment. You read here. Okay, those experiments revolving around the heavy and light objects together. Okay, and to see which one falls first and which one falls second, and what was the difference between their motions between the heavy object and the light object. Okay, so based on these observations, he found out that Copernicus heliocentric theory was correct, because Earth, being a heavier object, it naturally attracts a lighter object like Sun being the heavier object, it actually propels the Earth, he says, as a lighter object. And he said Copernicus heliocentric theory was correct, and he published a book regarding his findings. And then what happened? Then from here he had problem with the church wasn't really happy with Galileo. In the case of Copernicus, he already died when his works were published. But in his case, he was still alive when his work was published. So church wasn't happy with the sun replacing the earth at the center of the universe, and church banned Galileo's book and put pressure on him to retract his observation. He said, no, you take back what you discovered, right? Do not publish your book. Okay, till now, if you happen to go to Vatican, there is something called Vatican Archives. Okay, so there you will find everything regarding the observation of the case against Galileo. You will find a big hall, as big as our own school. Okay, so whole hall is fully with the his response, the response from the church, all the papers, all the books, everything is kept there. Okay, in such a way that his trial was taking place. Okay, but Galileo accepted church condition that after that he never ever published anything. Okay, because it said that Galileo was under house arrest rest of his life till he died. Galileo was he was kept under house arrest. Okay, but still, even though being in the house, he continued to perform his experiments secretly and publishing his findings in the countries where Pope's writ did not extend. He did his work and published in a place where in the countries where Pope cannot have any control over it. Okay, now here we see Galileo's trial by the church became a symbol of the confrontation between religious dogma and science. It was a symbol of struggle between religion and science, with the upholders of religion suppressing scientific findings. It can also be seen as a confrontation between powerful vested interest on the one hand and the investigative spirit of human beings on the other hand. Okay, so that became the fate of Galileo. And from Galileo, we come to talk about Isaac Newton. So he is the, we could say, the hero of the scientific revolution, and almost he was ruling the whole scientific advancements even up to the contemporary period, just before the advent of Einstein. Okay, now what was his contribution? The English scientist Isaac Newton proposed his famous theory of gravity, and it is his theory of gravity was center of point of reference to all the scientists who were working till Einstein came out with his theory of relativity. Okay, so till then the theory of gravity was a point of reference for all the scientists, for all the inventors. So he is famous for the theory of gravity and the motion of astronomical bodies on the basis of the discoveries of Kepler and Galileo. Newton's work ushered in a new age where science was accorded the highest esteem. So it was during that time the scientific advancement was in a way celebrated. That we call a scientific revolution. So now we have seen, we are going to finish scientific revolution. Now we have seen a new science was born in the early modern era after being freed from bonds of religious misconceptions. You see, there is a slow and steady transition from the Middle Ages, where religion was taking upper hand in all the aspects of life, in all the areas of science. And slowly that clutches are being freed. Now religion and then science, they actually move away from, they fall apart from each other. This new science was not based on old assumptions but upon experiment, as Roger Bacon said. It was not based upon assumptions. The earlier ancient science was mostly based on observations. But here, it's not based on observation, but rather observation is very, very important. But observations were supported by the experiments. The age of Renaissance began with the assumption that Aristotle's beliefs and methods were the proof of scientific knowledge. Okay, so the early Renaissance period began with the point of reference, having Aristotle as a point of reference. Then this early Renaissance period ended with the early modern period, ended with Isaac Newton replacing the old beliefs of Aristotle and setting up a new, we could say, gospel for science. But with the onset of scientific revolution, it was established that many of Aristotle's basic theories and methods of study and investigations were wrong. So ever since the advent of Newton, we find the whole system is being overturned. So Aristotle's science his investigations were, scientific principles and investigations were based on geocentric theory. But after proving that the geocentric theory is totally wrong, it is a heliocentric theory that is the truth, then we find that the whole system, scientific observations, scientific experiments and scientific calculations, mathematics, everything is totally changing. And with Newton, we have a new set of scientific principles, new set of scientific rules that was ruling the world almost for many centuries up to the contemporary period in which we have Isaac Newton, which you would study in the years to come. Okay, right. So with that we complete scientific revolution, and we move on to the last section of this lesson, the maritime expeditions and geographical discoveries. Okay, I will explain to you in the next video. Thank you.